Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans, the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Hey everyone, welcome into a brand new episode of The Process, starting off this week of shows with another great program on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. Of course, this is The Process. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Be sure to go do it really quickly. Hit that subscribe button below. Also, be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. I am going to be here every Tuesday and Thursday evening to break down the latest in Crimson Tide football recruiting news. On today's episode, I do want to talk about a couple of the Tide's top targets in the 2022 recruiting class and break down where the Crimson Tide currently stand in their recruitment, including a 5-star athlete who will announce his commitment on Thursday. So a big portion of this episode will be focused on that. But before I get a chance to dive into that breakdown, all of that news, I do want to hit you guys with a couple of quick recruiting updates. So with that being said, let's get the process started. Let's get these recruiting updates rolling with 2022 4-star offensive tackle Keonta Goodwin, including the Tide in his top 5. He previously had a bigger top school list, but he's decided to cut that down to 5 schools, which is something that we've seen a lot over the last couple of days when it comes to Alabama targets who are making those top schools lists. And I think this most likely means that these are the schools that these prospects want to take official visits to. I think once the recruiting dead period is lifted, if it is lifted after the month of May, we could see a lot of prospects take as many official visits as possible in a short amount of time, because you never know when things could go backwards in terms of the global pandemic, in terms of COVID-19. So I think we're going to see a uptick in official visits during the summer if the recruiting dead period is lifted after the month of May. We have seen several prospects lock in official visit dates to several schools across the nation, including to the University of Alabama. The Tide were also included in a top 5 released by 2022 4-star defensive tackle Marcus Gracio. He was joined by 5-star offensive tackle Zach Rice, who also dropped a top 5. He even released that these are the schools that he is going to take official visits to. So that is just an interesting development when it comes to the 2022 recruiting class. A prospect who does have an official visit date set to the University of Alabama is 4-star offensive lineman Tyler Booker out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He is one of the prospects I had an opportunity to see in action at the Under Armour camp in Atlanta over the summer. You guys can check out some of his top plays on our YouTube page. Also get an update on his recruitment on touchdowналabama.com in a subscriber only article. But he is one of those prospects that I will talk about a little later in the show in terms of just giving an update on a couple of guys here in the 2022 recruiting class in terms of Alabama recruiting them. But those are the couple of recruiting updates I wanted to run down with you guys today. Now I am going to talk about those guys who I wanted to discuss here. Today, I'm going to talk about a trio of 2022 prospects who the Crimson Tide are recruiting really hard at the moment. And I'm going to start with 5-star defensive tackle Walter Nolen out of Tennessee. Nolan is currently one of the Crimson Tide's top overall targets in the 2022 recruiting class. He currently has the Tide in his top 10 along with several schools from across the nation, including Clemson and Ohio State. So when you see those 3 programs, that this is a high profile prospect. And he was really impressive at this particular event. Afterwards, media from across the nation were trying to get an interview with him. At one point, it looked as if he was having his own personal press conference because everyone wants to know the latest in his recruitment. I had an opportunity to talk one-on-one with Walter, and he told me that he was building a unique bond with Alabama's coaching staff, using his country roots to connect with the Tide staff. He is a guy from Tennessee, so he is a southern guy, a country guy, as he described himself, and he said he was able to bond with Alabama's coaching staff because of that. He's connecting with them on another level. Also talked about the relationship that he was building with Saban. You guys can learn a lot more about that on touchdownalabama.com in an exclusive subscriber-only article, so be sure to pick up your subscription to touchdownalabama.com today. But in terms of where Alabama stands in Nolan's recruitment, I think they are right near the top, battling it out with some of the other top schools in the nation, including Clemson, Ohio State, also LSU. He does not have a official visit date set to any school at the moment, but he is open to scheduling visits to any of the schools that are recruiting him at the moment. So that is something that is developing in his recruitment at the moment. I feel the Crimson Tide are right near the top. He is a guy that is really enjoying his recruitment at the moment. It is just going to be fun to see how his recruitment plays out. I don't see the Crimson Tide cooling off on him at any point in this 2022 recruiting cycle. His recruitment is going to be one of the more interesting recruitments here in the 2022 recruiting cycle. But Alabama remains in a good position with the 5-star defensive tackle. We are also going to talk about 4-star offensive lineman Tyler Booker out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Had an opportunity to catch up with him, talk a little bit about his recruitment as well. And Alabama is very high in his recruitment, he told me, but I feel the Crimson Tide are arguably the leader, are arguably the favorite for this 4-star offensive lineman out of IMG Academy. He is building a close relationship with the Tide's new offensive line coach, Doug Marrone. He also has a special relationship with the Tide's early enrollee and freshman offensive lineman, J.C. Latham. He described him as his blood brother, so he has a great relationship with Latham. So I feel the Crimson Tide are the favorite for Booker at the moment, one of the top offensive linemen in the 2022 recruiting class. You guys can check out my article with him over at touchdownalabama.com. He currently has an official visit date set to the University of Alabama during the summer. You guys can find out exactly what the date is over at touchdownalabama.com. But like I said, I feel Alabama is the favorite to land Booker at the moment. The next guy I want to talk about, the last prospect, is a prospect who will announce his verbal commitment on Thursday, and that is 5-star athlete Malachi Starks out of Jefferson County High School in Georgia. He currently has a top 3 of Alabama, Georgia, and Clemson. I would say at this moment, Alabama is at least in the mix. They are prioritizing Malachi Starks in their 2022 recruiting class. They are telling him that he is a priority to them. I had an opportunity to catch up with him as well over the weekend. He told me that he loved his relationship with Alabama's coaching staff, talked about his relationship with his recruiters, including Charles Kelly, the Tide's safeties coach. Alabama does want to play him at defensive back, although he plays all over the field for Jefferson County High School, including at quarterback, but he said he loves to play defensive back, which is where Alabama wants to play him at. So he feels that that is a position that he can strive at the next level and do really good at the next level. And he feels that the Crimson Tide are prioritizing him in this 2022 recruiting cycle. So I feel that Alabama is in the mix. Clemson and Georgia are also heavy favorites for the 2022 5-star athletes. So we will see what happens on Thursday. But I can say one thing for sure in terms of Starks recruitment is that Alabama really likes this kid. They are recruiting him hard. They want him to be a part of their 2022 recruiting cycle, but he does have some close connections with the Clemson program as well as the Georgia program. So right now it may lean more towards those programs, but Alabama is still in the mix, and if he does make a verbal commitment on Thursday, I think we can still see Alabama recruit him after that verbal commitment is made. So that is just something to pay attention to in terms of his recruitment and his commitment coming up on Thursday. Alabama is recruiting this guy really hard. But those are the 3 prospects who I wanted to talk about on today. That will do it for this episode of The Process. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave. Also, be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles. Also, get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. We are gearing up to release our latest issue that should be coming to our current subscribers pretty soon. So be sure to subscribe to touchdownalabama.com so you can get your hands on our newest issue, which is set to to be mailed out to our subscribers in the near future. Also, be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app. You can do this by going to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device, or to the Apple App Store if you have an Apple device, and downloading the app. With that app, breaking news notifications about Alabama football will be sent to your mobile device by the staff here at touchdowналabama.com. As always, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.